Hi guys, what's up? My name's Ashley Koyman, aka Tennessee Wanderer. Today I wanted to talk about 3 things that you need to consider when you're picking out your next boot for your next hiking adventure. The first thing that you need to consider when choosing your next shoe is how does it fit? So we're going to talk about 3 things. We're going to talk about fit, we're going to talk about support, and we're going to talk about the materials that they use. So the first part about this is the actual fit. And when you think about fit, as you're walking, when you try a boot on, as you're walking, does your heel lift out? Do your feet touch the front all the way? Because if your toes are touching the front, then they're going to create some issues for you on your hike. You want to make sure that you have just enough room there for a little bit of wiggle room. You don't want your toes pressed completely against. You probably want about a ½ an inch worth of room there. Not a substantial amount, but enough if you're going downhill that your foot isn't constantly hitting the front. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Wild with Reese Witherspoon, but she basically had to toss her boots in the middle of her hike because she had that problem. Her boots were too small. So it was creating some issues for her on her hike. So something that you want to think about when you're getting your next hiking shoe as well is support. So for me, I need to have really high arch support. And I found the most amazing boots for high arch support for me, which I pick Oslos. So I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but it's ASOLO. And they are wonderful. Now these are... They were in use for like 10 years and they fell apart on me on LeConte, and I duct taped them together to make it through the hike because I loved them so much. And when I talk about support, since I have really high arches, this boot was really comfortable for me. And they also have the ankle support. Now some people, depending on how much you hike and what kind of trails, they like the trail runners a little bit more because they're lighter weight. However, for me, they don't have the ankle support. And when these boots blew out on me on the Mount LeConte, I went hiking in just regular tennis shoes after that because I was impatient and I didn't want to wait to get my new hiking boots. So I went with tennis shoes, and after that, I actually twisted my ankle and sprained my ankle pretty bad. So something that you want to think about is just making sure that you have the proper support for you, because I mean, I don't give my ankles enough credit maybe, but they're weak. So I prefer the boots because they are a little bit more comfortable for me, and I don't stress as bad about if I am out on the trail by myself and twisting an ankle again. So just something to keep in mind. The other thing that you need to think about is also materials. So what is your boot made out of? You know, is it waterproof? Is it breathable? What kind of conditions are you going to be in? And for me, I like the waterproof boot because I found myself hiking a lot in the rain and colder temperatures, and then, you know, snow on the ground. So I really enjoy winter hiking a lot. So in spring when it's still cooler out. So the boot for me, the waterproof gor-tex boots are a lot better. Some people like the more breathable, like the trail runners that are lighter weight, like I said, and are more breathable as well. So when you think about all of that, just think about, you know, what conditions you're going to be in. I love chacos, but I don't necessarily like hiking in chacos. I bring them with me along a hike usually. So if like I'm in a water area where I want to go ahead and change my shoes to wear for that. But hiking, I don't want my toes all beat up, you know, going through rocky terrains and those type of things. So just something to think about as you're choosing your next shoe. Another part to materials is you really want to think about, make sure that you have a good sock, because a good sock, I mean, that's going to change your world. If you don't have a good sock, you're going to rub, you're going to get that friction, which creates blisters. And so if you have a proper fitting shoe with the proper materials and the proper fit, you're going to be okay out on your trail. And I will also go over a couple tips on how to put your shoe on properly. So, these are my new pair. I actually ordered these off of Amazon, and they were the correct size, and they were the new Oslos after my other ones blew out. So I went and purchased another one of these just because I love them so much. But they are intense. They're very good for, you know, what I need to use them for. But basically, you're going to want to pull your tongue all the way out to make sure you have enough room. And hang on, I'll get the rest. So, you've got your tongue stretched out. The next thing you're going to want to do when you're looking for a shoe is make sure that it's snug when you're first trying it on. It's probably going to be a little tighter until you break it in. But you're really going to want to make sure that you have about a ½ an inch in front of your foot. So there's a ½ an inch between the end of your shoe and where your toes are. You want that wiggle room because you don't want them pressed all the way against the end of the shoe. So when I lace up, I usually just come up to the first one for that extra ankle support because the rest of it kind of helps a little bit. Sometimes I go up to the second, just depending on how far my hike is and how much I'm going to be walking that day and what kind of terrain I'm on. When you go up to the second rung on your shoe, there's really no reason to batten down the hatches. You really want to leave a little bit of room in there. It's just there for support. It's not meant to cut off the circulation to the rest of your foot. So make sure you leave a little bit of room in there that you can move, and that when you are walking, that your heel doesn't slide all the way up in the back of your shoe. So you want to make sure that there's a little bit of movement, but you don't want to completely suffocate your foot and tighten it down too much. So, all right, thanks so much, guys. Hopefully you found that to be useful. If you have any questions about the shoe wear or anything that I didn't cover, please feel free to comment down below and I'll do my best to answer those. Hopefully you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week. And if you like what you heard, hit the subscribe button and get out there and take a hike.